Thank you for joining us this evening. Kevin is joining us via Zoom. Yep. We're going to do a quick mic check as soon as he's in. He's in. Okay. Kevin, can you hear us? Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me? It's Kevin.
Here we go. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, how are you?
Great. Welcome.
Thank you.
Before we approve the agenda, where's Mr. Clark? Hi, welcome. Thank you. Hopefully you got to pass by our greeters tonight. Do you have some students? We'd love to introduce them. Awesome. Come on up. Come with, that's nice. We don't mean to put you on the spot, but thank you for being here tonight. Do you want to give us your name and grade? And if you'd like to tell us something exciting about Bonnie Lake right now, that we would love to hear that as well.
Hi, my name is Audrina. I'm a freshman senator at Bonnie Lake High School. I'm not involved in anything yet, but I'm trying to figure out what I want to do there. There's so many opportunities, so I'm trying to weave through and see what I like and what I don't. Right now we're working on homecoming stuff, so it's really exciting, and I'm really excited for what's left and what's to come in our school year.
Awesome. Great, thanks.
Let's give her a round of applause. Yeah. So she's not giving herself enough credit. She says she's not involved in anything yet, but she's in ASB as a freshman. She's taken honors algebra 2, so she's 2 years ahead in math. She's taken pre-AP English. She's taken AP human geography. You're like kind of diving in the deep end. You're like way into it. And so yeah, she's definitely running our school and helping us build that bridge across the street to Mount View Middle School, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for being here. Nice work. Thank you. Have a great night. I at this time move to adopt the agenda for the September 20th, 2023 board meeting with the following addendum: correction of item 1, EP&O and tech levy recap under section 1 business matters. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda with that addendum?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Hi.
Hearing none, motion passes. The administration recommends that the board of directors approve the consent items for the September 20th, 2023 board meeting as listed. Do I have a motion to approve this recommendation?
So moved.
Do I hear a second? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. This brings us to superintendent comments.
A lot of great things going on in the district right now. I know that Rick and Kevin will probably, and Paul will probably fill you in on a few things that they've just recently experienced. But Brian Scheer, glad you're here tonight. Because again, I just want to highlight the work you're doing in the district as our new Director of Safety and Security, how you're meeting with individual buildings. You have this Safety Monday going on at our schools. Just really appreciate how you've jumped into a brand new position. And every day you help fulfill our promise that kids are known, valued, and supported. So thank you for your hard work. Again, this position is much needed and you are the perfect person for it. So thank you again for all of your work.
Thank you, Dr. Dent. Board member comments. Paul?
Thanks, Aaron. Well, this morning I got to attend the Parent Leadership Council. There's about 20 officers from the PTA and PTO organization. They got to tell us about all the great things they did over the summer and into the basically they gave us updates all the way to next fall, but into the holiday definitely. I was able to give a plug to them and say, hey, invite your school board to these events. There's 5 of us. We do our best to make it to these events. It breathes new life into us when we see all the good things going on. So watch your inboxes. Hopefully you'll get those. Many of these, PTA and PTO officers also wear many more hats than just that. They are on booster clubs. And so we got to get a little bit of an update on these on the booster clubs. This is an important group of people that provide us feedback and ideas and networking opportunities amongst themselves. And it helps build a kind of an esprit de corps across the district, which is good. That's a highlight. Now for something that may be a little drier. And that is Friday and Saturday, I'll be attending, fortunately via Zoom, but it's the WASDA General Council. The WASDA General Assembly. And it's taking place right now over in Spokane. It'll start basically at 8:30 in the morning, Friday. I'll probably show up in my pajamas. But currently I'm still working through the 91-page book that they have. Just to give you a highlight so that you guys and the public understand what it is. It's kind of like a convention. And they have bylaws and proposals that we vote on. And then they have position proposals that are voted on. They have some that are do support and some that are do not support. And many of these positions span the range of topics about learning, staffing, capital facilities, funding and allocation, and governance. I wish I could say I was just thrilled, but it is one of those things that's needed and it's important to do. And so that's what I'll be doing Friday and Saturday. So while you're out having fun, guys, think about me.
Yeah. We do appreciate you attending. Thank you for representing us in that meeting, Paul. Deb?
I believe Lori gave us some really good information at the study session as far as the placements in math and was it English? And really proud of everything the district has worked so hard to get kids up to speed after having some time off with COVID and the pandemic. So I'd like to toot your horn again. And along with that, there's many organizations out there that rate schools. And one of many that I do get information on is called School Digger. And they rate school districts in the state of Washington. And currently, we are rated number 20 out of 344 school districts. I don't know that we had that. I didn't realize we had that many school districts. And I think they're more than likely taking into consideration charter schools, but it's usually around 290 something, 95. But still, ranked 20 out of 295 is really a big deal. And it wouldn't happen if we didn't have all these incredible people working in this district. So thank you for that.
Yeah, well said, Deb. Thank you. Kevin?
Yeah, recently was fortunate enough to be taken on a tour of our maintenance and operations facilities and the bus facilities. And I can't tell you how impressed I was with both of those tours. The facilities are immaculate, well organized. All the staff is just top notch. I was just blown away by all the great things that they're doing up in those buildings. And, I really look forward to having further discussions. We have great programs on the CTE side that are developing aerospace skills and getting our graduating senior jobs directly at Boeing right after graduation. We have programs that are educating our students to get their paraeducation certificate and get a job right out of high school, working hopefully in our district. And I really see the success of these kind of pipeline programs that are giving our students opportunities right away. And I just thought I saw those opportunities we can talk further about. If someone has interest in diesel mechanics and, that kind of auto repair and maintenance and, working in child nutrition and those sorts of things, if you're in the culinary program, and just, it seems like the possibilities are endless for future certifications and just future skill training that we can do within our district right in the buildings we have that just helps prepare our students for their future. So a big shout out to both of those entities up there on the hill that gave us that tour. I appreciated their time and attention. And it was just really a great, wonderful tour that I learned a lot at.
Thanks, Kevin. Any other comments?
Yeah. Just to reiterate, Kevin's right. It was a fantastic tour up on the hill up there. I have to say that the people that we met up there, extremely professional. Dave, Pam, and Char. And, it was a different type of tour because this one is an educational atmosphere. This was more of a get down and dirty and doing these jobs that they do up there was and seeing and the numbers that they have to contend with. I mean, I think they do something like 6,000 riders a day of students, and the number of buses that they do, and just kind of, how they manage that many buses, that many kids, and make sure everybody's getting to where they got to be. That I was surprised. And I got to tell you, they got the best looking bus barn probably in the county or in the state. Somehow they painted that thing up where it looks like a bus when you're walking in the door, and it is unbelievable. They did a fantastic job. And the bus bays, I made a comment, you could eat off the floor up there. It's that clean up there. I mean, they do such a good job. It was amazing. Then you go over to Dave's shop over there. Probably not as clean, but that thing is, they got so much stuff going on over there. They got some of the best looking wood tools I would love to take home with me. They have repurposed some things we talked about. I'm a motorcycle guy, but they took a motorcycle bench that I would love to have at home, where it just rises up. They made it purpose into something else, which is very useful. But they have so much equipment up there, and the amount of work that they're doing to different things, amazing. And then I was really surprised, because I didn't realize this, was the nutrition up there. They have got a warehouse, and they have got it laid out fantastic. And I was amazed by what I was seeing. Then I said, God, don't you guys have any cold storage around here? Next thing I know, three big reefers are, in the building up there. So, and it's nice and chilly. It's good for a hot day if you're chilly. But they all were extremely professional, and it was an amazing tour. And I give credit for the people that are in charge up there, because they did a wonderful job showing us everything. I think they do something like they feed like 4,000 kids a day, and that's an enormous task. I think it was Penny. She got this new truck up there. They repurposed that out of something else, I believe, and she was really, really excited about that truck she got for taking everything out that she does every day. And kudos to her. She did a good job, and like I said, everything up there is just in amazing shape. Now, I'm going to go on to some other comments. I'm going to make some comments that I'm going to read this because I've tried writing this. I'm not sure I'm a good writer, but I'm going to do my best I can at this. Can you hear me out there? Everybody hear me? Okay. I get this closer. Okay. It has been 15 interesting years as a school board director. Next month will be my last month as serving as a board director. I'm not leaving for any reason other than the board redistricting, and the district I have been currently in is held by another board director with 2 years remaining. I have observed the good, the bad, and the ugly of directorship. As I said previously, I have worked with 4 superintendents and 11 different board directors. When I was appointed to the board, my sole reason was to help with a common sense approach to address the failures of the school system I witnessed in my job. When I first came to the board, there was no defined board goals, no board operating principles, no district scorecard, and to be honest, no strategic plan that I am aware of. After some serious board turnover, new board members started attending school board conferences state and nationally, and brought back with them energy and ideas for implementation. One of the most important information new board directors receive at the state conference is the board member boot camp, and it gives them their roles as a board director. I have said this many times. The board's role is hiring and firing a superintendent, fiscal responsibility, and policy governance. It is important that board members stay out of the day-to-day operations of the district and stay in their roles. In all actuality, this district runs itself very well. In the top 20 out of 295 districts in the state, top 4 in Pierce County, probably number 1 if you're just looking at the larger districts in Pierce County. When the board and district are working together, great things get accomplished. That does not mean the board or board members should always blatantly agree on everything with the district or each other. I think it is well known I have not always agreed with the superintendent and or other board members and have expressed opposing opinions. I believe it is important for board members to express their opinions, even if it goes against the majority view. Varying opinions are what promote discussion and should not result in name calling or trying to so-called cancel the individual. If change is needed on the board, that is what the ballot box is for. It is very possible within the coming months, the composition of this board could change drastically. For several years, we had a very cohesive board, but for whatever reason, this board seems to be very contentious, divisive, and I'm not sure why. Was it the effect of the outpouring criticism from the COVID debacle? Or is it the current political environment or current trends in society? And I'm not sure which. Whatever it is, or board members need to ask the difficult questions to get the information they need for making qualified decisions. If a board member is on the board just to be a cheerleader, find a new pastime. If a board member is scared to voice their public opinion for fear of public backlash, find a new pastime. As a board member, you cannot be scared of taking on public criticism. You can't please everyone. As a board member, one should not get up or leave the room just because you do not like the opinion being given by another board member. Sometimes you just have to agree to disagree. Boards need to be comprised of individuals that have come here not with any specific agenda, but to govern in a way to provide a good education for all students. Remember, as a board member, you are only one of 5, and it all comes down to the vote. You win some, and you lose some. I have been part of some horrendous decisions, but for the most part, the board has accomplished a lot of growth and success in the district. Working together, moderate board members, not too far right or left, work well. Early on, I made a comment this district was like North Korea, a very isolated place. If you weren't from here, you weren't getting in, and not a lot of new information came into the district. And all I ever heard was it was the Sumner way. Well, that finally changed. Lori has not just promoted from within, but has brought in numerous experienced, talented, and quality individuals to the district to assist her in managing the district. Bang, 2, David, Marion, Karen, Steve, Sarah, Beth, Michelle, Robin, Kelly, Josh, and if I missed anyone, please accept my apology. One last item. The future board has a major task ahead of it, the next levy and bond. How the board works together or does not can and will have a major implications for this district and the community. Those are just some of my comments before I leave. Thank you.
Okay, any further comments? Move into audience comments. The Sumner-Bonney Lake School Board welcomes the public to its meetings. Individuals who wish to address the board should sign up online. Comments are restricted to 3 minutes. Remarks regarding district personnel are not appropriate for audience comments portion of the meeting. David, do you have some additional parameters for us?
I do.
you.
Comments taken under advisement may or may not receive action in future meetings. The audience comment period will end when all registered speakers have been heard. We ask that everyone adhere and understand the following guidelines. In order to maintain respect for all points of view, the school board requests no clapping, booing, or any other form of support or non-support be used. The board will not respond to comments, but will take them under advisement. Speakers should be courteous and professional. Please refrain from using profanity, vulgar language, threatening, or defamatory comments. As a reminder, individuals are not permitted to name a specific staff member, board member, or student during public comments. Failure to do so may result in the board president or designee interrupting or ending the comment. The audience comment process is as follows. Only speakers who registered by noon Tuesday, September 19th will be heard. Sorry about that. If you are providing in-person public comment, when your name is called, please come up to the podium and state your name. If you are providing virtual public comment, when your name is called, you will be promoted to panelist. Please address comments to the school board as a whole. Individuals have 3 minutes to speak, and I will signal with the bell when 1 minute remains. Our first audience comment this evening is Trevor Blake.
Hello, my name is Trevor Blake, and I have a student who goes to Bonnie Lake High School. My son, I wish he would go to class more and do more of his homework, but he does play baseball, and that's kind of what I'm passionate about. Right now, I currently coach the fall baseball team for Coach Olson while he's on the mend. And I have been a staunch supporter for most of my life with baseball. I grew up in Arizona. Out of high school, I was drafted by the New York Mets. But instead of signing a baseball contract, I decided that school was more important. And that's the kind of stuff that I'm trying to bring to the kids and support the kids. So one of the things that I'm asking for you guys to consider on the next bond is an all-turf field at Bonnie Lake High School. I can't speak to Sumner High School because I don't know what they've got going on over there, but at Bonnie Lake, the field it's dangerous. Kids are afraid to catch a baseball on the ground for the lumps and the bumps and the bad hops and things like that. I've spent a good part of the summer getting the dandelions and the weeds out of the field, in hopes that this upcoming fall, when we put it to rest, and we're kind of in the winter time, that those dandelions and things won't come back. I wanted to let you guys know that having an all-turf field will not only serve the baseball team, but it would also serve other parts of the community. The outfield can be used as a soccer field. It can be used for other different events, lacrosse. You can have multiple teams on the field at the same time. One of the things also by having an all-turf field is it gives you the ability to recoup some of that money. There's plenty of organizations that are around here that will pay good money to use those facilities. That will obviously help recoup some of the costs. And then obviously having lights on those fields would also be beneficial. Every day I drive by on my way back home to Tahali, I see Mountain Views being used constantly. And so that's the kind of thing that I would like for the baseball kids, because you do have a big community here kind of in the South End. You have a big community of baseball families, and they would like, to see something like that. So my ask is that you guys look for the money on the bond, on the next bond. I know it's a lot of money for a baseball field, but if you could do that, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next audience comment is Josh Hughes.
I'm going to ask for a little bit of patience on time, if at all possible. I'm going to go through it as quickly as possible. Hello, I'd like to start by thanking you for allowing me to speak today on behalf of Panther Baseball Booster Club and Bonnie Lake High School baseball program. My name is Josh Hughes, and I'm a proud parent of a Bonnie Lake High School student and baseball player. I would like to briefly explain the importance of a turf baseball field at Bonnie Lake High School. As you know, by living in Washington, the weather is unpredictable more than it is predictable. With high school baseball being a spring sport, this throws a huge variable into tryouts, practices, games, transportation, and field maintenance. Tryouts are starting in beginning of March. Often the high school field is under several inches of water and mud. This forces the tryout process to move indoors into gyms and common areas. These do not allow the student athletes to showcase their abilities in game situations or display the extreme amount of off-season preparation that they have put in. The turf field would allow this process to take place even during unfavorable weather. Practices are often canceled or changed at the very last moment due to changing weather conditions. While this does not impact the juniors and seniors due to their ability to drive, it is very difficult for freshmen and sophomore players and parents. I recall several times where I was required to leave work early to pick up my student athlete after practice was canceled, or was required to pick up and drop off at late hours due to rescheduling. When transitioning to indoor gyms and practices, this brings up a whole separate list of variables due to the other sports using these facilities. Often, over the past several years, I recall numerous times where the baseball team was forced indoors for the entire week leading up to a major contest. In baseball, nothing compares to actual field time. Games and transportation. Being a former baseball player, coach, and now a parent of a player, there is nothing more frustrating and depressing than working all week in preparation for a game and then being rained out. These young men sacrifice a ton to attend practices 5 to 6 times a week, with the game being their reward. Field maintenance and preparation. There is no other way to explain this other than it is a daunting task that requires year-round attention. The Bonnie Lake High School baseball program is allocated roughly $350 per year by the district ASB funds to use for field maintenance, baseball uniforms, equipment, etc. This allocation is not nearly enough to even keep the playing surface safe for our student athletes, let alone the other variables. Baseball and softball are the only two programs district-wide that provide funds for their own facilities, and it is absolutely necessary. A prime example of this is Diamond Dry and Turfus. These products are used to maintain the field and fix wet spots. The cost of a 50-pound bag of Turfix is $25. Diamond Dry is $15. On average, our program uses 100 bags of Turfus and 20 to 50 bags of Diamond Dry. On a conservative side, this is $2,800. In addition to these materials, the field requires constant weeding, which we're handicapped by limitations on weed spray, thatching, aeration, seeding, new infield dirt, recutting base paths, leveling, and much more. Moles have also become a huge problem, which poses a health risk for rolling of ankles and blowing out
Thank you
knees.
so much. That is the end of your time.
I believe so.
Thank you. And that concludes our audience comment period.
Thank you. Okay. All right, this brings us to our policy for this evening. This is a second reading and adoption. The district administration recommends the board adopt the following district policy in accordance with policy 1310, 6060 uncollectible accounts. Do I have a motion to approve this recommendation? Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Is Kevin still with us?
Sorry about that. It wasn't allowing me to unmute. Aye.
Thank you. Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. For information only, this is a first reading for 5253 professional boundaries. At this time, we have a presentation from our Chief Finance and District Operations Officer Extraordinaire, Payne Bang Parkinson. Topic today is the EP&O and recap.
Board of Directors, Superintendent, tonight I'm going to kind of recap both EP&O levy and the tech levy that I've been talking about since June. So the first proposition is the EP&O, the educational programs and operations levy. So what do we pay? What do we use this money to pay for? And mostly is in education, like special ed. The state do not fully fund special ed. I think everybody knows that. But we need to make up with that because there's a lot of high need students that we need to provide services. And you don't know who will come in the door. We have to serve them all because they are our students. And then we also have to hire additional that the state do not fund it, just like additional teachers, all the teaching supports and paras, nurses, I mean, you name it. There's a lot of positions that the state do not fully fund it. And then, of course, after the COVID time, we provide a lot of mental health services. We hire additional staff, and also we contract out for with the Mary Bridge to help our students during this difficult time. And then, of course, student safety. We have all the SRO continues on repaying them every years. That is quite a bit of money. And then also our campus safety officers. We have a lot of supervisions before after school kids. And even the bus, we do not have enough bus drivers and there's a double bus run. We still have to provide all those supervisions for the students to make sure they are all safe. And absolutely the athletic side, band, art, music, state do not fund those. So we have to pay those 100%. Then of course, other program like ELL program that's not fully funded, highly capable, IB, AP, JROTC, all those programs that the state do not fund or even fully fund. Transportation, same way, we always underfund by at least 2-3 million every year. That's subsidized by this levy money. And staff professional development. The state pays some of those for the certificate, but none for classified. So we have to still maintain that kind of skill level for our classified staff to do the work. And that's why we need to provide those professional development. Substitute, the state pay probably a little bit of those, but we pay $1 million for the substitute, especially now this PFML, that's more substitute needed. And classified, we do not even fund one dime from the state. So all classified like paras. We have a lot of substitute paras that we have to pay, including sometimes we have to pay Sept dollars that we are not funded by that either. So, and any other classified position that the state not fund, but we need those and we pay for those. And this majority of it, and let alone the maintenance, repair, all those, suddenly our AC's down, our generators down, or leaking pipe, those things is not funded. Insurance, not funded. So those are part of it that the EP&O have to pay for it. So I think last board study session, I already talked about the formula. This is the collection formula. When the time comes when we collect, then the county will calculate whether using the enrollment count time the 2,500 plus CPI equal to that dollar amount. And then another formula is assess value times $2.50 per $1,000 assess value. Again, equal to a dollar amount. So these two dollar amount, whichever is less, is what we can collect. We can collect what we want to. We cannot choose what formula we want to. It's just the county, whether we fall into which categories that we can collect. Of course, it's always whichever is less. So in the past 4 years, at the time when we start calculating this levy, we always collect based on the assess value since ever. And the new law coming in, that was after we proposed to the board at the time to ask for this dollar amount, the voter authorization. At the time, thank you for voting this so we can continue having all this money to cover what I just talked about. So when it comes to collection, we do not collect what we ask. Because again, the new law coming in, and you have to collect whichever is less. So if flip it over, because the assess value go very high, you know, the housing market and stock market, everything will impact what the school district's money coming in. So we collect much, much less that we did not even anticipate, but it is what it is because the law. So we left, we call rollback, means that we do not collect those money and the taxpayer would not pay those, even though they approve, let's say they approve 28 million, but we only collect 25 million. So the 2.9 millions, they don't have to pay. They're not even need to worry about that 2.9 million. So that is how it works for the collection. So going back to next 4 years that we, the districts would like to replace the existing levy. And this is two calculation we try very hard and show you exactly how I calculate this step by step. Two formula. One is using the assess value because you never know what it's going to look like next year, the housing market. So we project very low this time because this year's drop, instead of 18%, it dropped down. So we use 0%, but then gradually going up a little bit. Now, do we really know in 2028 is going to be 8%? We never know. It could be 18% again. So if that is the case, it will flip over to the enrollment count because the enrollment count will provide us less money. And that's how it works. But again, this is coming back to the time you collect, and the county will calculate based on your enrollment or based on the assess value and the growth and how much money that they will provide to each student if it's using the enrollment count. So those numbers is pretty close using whatever I assume, like the assess value growth and then the enrollment, which is around 2-3% range, which is normally we do have that. And it's not really over projected. And then the per student money is using 8% of the, actually I have this that I can hand it over to the board so you can see where, how I come up with the 8% projection of the CBI because the Seattle, Tacoma, and Belleville, thank you. The CBI last year, the lowest is 8.1%. The highest is 10.1% last year. Average is 8.9. Starting this year is 8%. So it's going down a little bit and then going back up. So 8% using this projection is pretty close to the reality. And you can see through formula, the differences is only 2.5 million for the whole two cities in 4 years. So we're talking about maybe 5 cents differences. Again, if this, let's say 2026, 27, the SS value go up, we're not able to use the SS value anymore. Then it will flip it over. So those two numbers is pretty close to each other. And of course, we need to make sure we are not leave the money on the table that we cannot collect, because it will jeopardize the district's finance. So this is a very reasonable projection and very conservative projection. And this is what the EPNO that we've been talking about. Every year, there's a levy money that increase per students because of the inflation. And also every year, the SS value increase that you don't even anticipate. So that's how it is when you do the projection. Again, the law is saying that either you collect $2.50 per 1,000 SS value or 2,500 plus CPI inflation, whichever is less, as I just explained. And this EPNO levy take up 16% of our budget, pretty much like 20 to 30 million a year. And the districts asked that next 4 years, we would like to have this replaced with the first year's 2025, 38 million, 26, 42, very conservative, and 27, 45, and 28, 50. As you go further down the year, it's harder to project. When it removed from current, it's harder to project. And it's always that way. So even though, let's say, even though if you calculate the levy amount, the rate over $2.50, but you cannot collect $2.50. Maximum is $2.50. I mean, you collect more than that. So give you a little bit comparisons that the last 4 years and these 4 years. Last 4 years, we asked 28 million, 2021, 2022, 32.5, 2023, 38 million, and 2024, 45 million. However, to this 2025, we asked only 38 million. Then the next year is 42, which is still lower than the 2024. Then 2027 is pretty much the same, 45 million. Then 2028, 50 million. Again, the farther down, the harder to project, and you have to have some capacity to cover whatever's the house market volatile will give us the time that we collect. So it's really hard to project. It's just, we do our best and we do very conservatively to make sure we're not over ask or we're not under that will jeopardize the district's finance. Any question before I move to the proposition 2?
Paul?
Thank you, Barry. That was a great presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you for the slide. I know that the public can't see it, but
I will show it later because
okay, great.
I will.
It's a good
let's see.
slide to justify the 8% CPI.
Yes. Actually,
And can we go back just a couple of
oh,
slides?
okay.
So just go back one slide first.
See it here. This is like changing what slides, what?
Yeah, that slide right there. There's two slides that I particularly like in this presentation. this slide right here that shows that after 2024, where we had projected earlier $45 million request, that in 2025, it's a lot lower.
Yes,
And that's because, and you did a great job explaining that the further out you go, the harder it is to guesstimate or, really project what you expect to take in. And you adjust that. You're not just piling on top of that. So that is a great slide. The other slide that I particularly enjoyed was your first slide. We don't have to go all the way back to there, but that first slide, I hope makes it onto our district website at some point to show where these levy dollars go.
Yeah.
To special education. It does help. I have met with our legislators to let them know how truly underfunded special education is. It's mandated at the federal level and
Yes.
state level, and somehow it makes it to our enrichment levy in a very large way. So I hope they eventually, fix that. I didn't quite want you to go all the way back to that slide. The slide I really wanted you to stop on was the second to last.
which one?
If you go all the way back to the EP&O highlights. That one right
Yeah.
there, yes. So I understand this slide that it caps out at 250.
Uh-huh.
However, I also know that if I take the assessed value or any of the other, it won't necessarily at $2.50, it won't necessarily equate to that. And I only know that because you gave us a slide at the study session that showed that actually in 2008, if there were no cap, the levy rate would be $2.74.
Yeah, but you
But we're-
cannot collect that.
Right,
Yeah,
we're limited to that.
Right.
However, again, this is going back to 2018 when we had a limit of $1.50.
right.
And then it went, but the state of Washington changed the law and made it 250. So we were able to collect quite a bit more. And again, that was all prior to you arriving, Bang.
Correct. I was in Bethel at the time.
That's right. So this is all prior to Bang arriving, cleaning up some of our finances but what I'm getting at is that what we put to the voters in 2018 the math didn't equate. And when you have this slide here that you did provide to us, that this math equates. And so my concern is, and my hope is that when it goes to the voters, we see a chart more like this, explaining that, yes, it's capped at 250.
Yeah.
But the mathematics, and again, this is the best projections we can get. That's what the real, per capita is potentially could go to if there was a law change. Again, I know it gets confusing and you're trying to simplify it so that it's not confusing, but I like it to be nice and clean and clear. You've done a great job
Thank you.
explaining it to everybody here tonight, to me, and I appreciate it immensely.
Thank you. So any other question before I talk about the tax levy?
No questions, but thank you for the updated slides and all the time that you have put into making this understandable for us. We've spent some time during the study session looking at it, talking about it. I know we each kind of dove into it a little bit the past week, learning more about it. And so you really do a nice job, Bang, of
Thank
putting it together where it's clear and concise so that we can understand it. But we also know that's just the tip of the iceberg, right? There's a whole lot of stuff that we don't see that you do to make this projection the best and that it can be. So thank you for the extra work you did on this
Thank you.
presentation.
It's our job to make sure that the board understand,
Appreciate that.
because the board is the one that approved this levy before we go out to the voter. If the board do not understand and they just blindly vote, that is not fair to anybody. So that's our job, to make sure the board understand first and then the public as well.
Thank you for your help.
Thank you.
Hey, Aaron.
Yes, Kevin.
I just wanted to chime in and to say thank you, Bang. I know that we can't emphasize enough that the funding gap from the state level is what we're talking about here, and the excellent work and the diligence that you and your group put into making sure that we can go out and cover that gap to continue to run a great school district is very much appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. All right, I'm going to go to the second proposition 2, that is capital levy, that we talk about technology. So I think we talked about it in the past, that this is the last election that we ask for dollar amount and then what we pay for. And that's exactly last study section we talk about in detail what we are paying this for. We have 5 categories and continues with these 5 categories using the tech levy. It's for infrastructure, for device replacement, all the technology, cybersecurity subscription, and safety security for our facility, and then of course, classroom technology. So in this new technology levy replacement, we maintain pretty much close to what we asked in the past, but we still maintain the same 3 plans. We have plan A, plan B, and plan 3, and plan C. And this plan also have the same 5 category that we're paying out of. Last study section, we gave you the big sheet to lay out all the individual project and how much money it costs. And it stressed all the way to 6 years of the project to finish the whole cycle of this replacement and maintain the project we've been doing with this proposition. So just in general, this is what the voter pay to the levy. A portion of us underneath the yellow, light yellow color is for the school district's levy. It's about 37% out of the 100% that you pay to the county. And that's each city of Sumner and city of Bonney Lake. And that's how it kind of slice the pie of the percentage, which share that school district get and the state get and the city of Sumner or city of Bonney Lake get and some of the counties get and the fire. So whatever we will vote and it's shown in this graph and how they slice at our tax payment. So this is the recap of all those 2 together. The home price, again, we talk about assess value, which is the home price, right? Currently, the average is 509,000 some for the home price average in Pierce County. So it grows every year, some 18% in the past. I mean, in the past 7 years, it's all double digits, except the COVID time, it was only 8% increase. Now suddenly this year's drop. So that's why I was very conservatively put only 1 single digits of growth continues on in these 5-6 years. Now, the possibility keep that single digits may not be real. It could be jump again. It just depends on the market, right? So we don't know. But that is the rate that we are going to collect. Now you have the, can I see? Oops. So you can see the green color. That is our existing bond that we've been paying, the last bonds. And to the end of this 2028, we are pretty much paid off the bond. So we still have a little bit to go and finish up. And then you can see the assets, proposition 1 means that the EPNO that we just talked about, that is the rate. And then the yellow color is the tech levy rate. So the total rate for all those 3 are in the last column. Now, these rates fluctuate as I talked about in the past. assess value go up, rates go down, or vice versa. So it's always that way. Now the rate, whether it impact the actual dollars payment, may not be that big because you have the high dollar amount of your house, you time the low rate percentage, then your dollar amount is the same as you have the low, not the same, but similar. The low price, house price time the higher rate. You know, those formulas kind of balancing itself. It's not really a big of the differences, but this is how you try to project as much as you can. So you can see that all those three taxpayer paying, the existing bond, the EPNO, and the tax levy. To the end of 28, you can see the big drops. That's because our bond money is paying off quite a bit at the time. Again, we talk about the true proposition and how I calculate it and how much each month taxpayer pay and how much each month increase in those years. The monthly increase between the 2023 and 24 is pretty much like $5 a month. It's not even a cup of Starbucks coffee. And then from 2024 and 25, it's a little bit higher because, you know, the new set of EPNO coming in. Again, each month increase $22 and then continues on, increase very small to the end, like $3, $8 a month. So we maintain very consistent and trying not to, you know, make it a big ask. And you can see that the yellow color there is the proposition 2, the tax levy. We even pay less in the last 2 years each month. It's because in the last 2 years, we probably don't need as much as the first several years in doing those projects. So that's why we ask less to the end of the levy. And that's why you see that the raises increase, decrease, but it's not really dramatic. It's pretty consistent and it just replaces what you currently pay. It's not really an additional new levy. It's the existing levy that you been paying since. So this is our timeline. In June, we already talk about the levy, just the first introductions of, you know, our next levy. Then in July, we're working on a lot of behind the scenes, you know, calculating those and prepare the communication and things like that. Then August, we prepare the ballot title, the explanatory statement. We finished it today, finally. And then the resolution. Then in September, that's what I present to the board 2 times now, and also prepare to submit to the OSBI after today. And then October, then we will present to the board the first reading in the study section, and then a second reading and for the board to approve the resolution. And also there's 2 committees that you need to appoint for the for and against the committee for the proposition. And then in November, we have to file with the county and all those work. And then in January, we will continue to communicate to the public to make sure that whatever we said today is going to be exactly what we said and share information with the public. And then in February, that's the voting time. So any question on the timeline? Question on the proposition 2?
Any questions?
I just have a comment. Maybe it's because I've been through I didn't have too many questions last time either. You did a great job laying out the tech levy and during
you.
the study session. You laid it out real clear as well. Can you do me one favor? Go back 2 slides. Yep. Yeah, to that one. Perfect. I like this slide because Bang, I think your numbers are very conservative.
Yeah, it is.
And when I look at this, I know as a taxpayer, that's probably the worst it's going to get for me. You know, meaning that's the most taxes I'm going to pay because there's a limiting factor on the levy. There's a very good chance that the taxes are going to come in much lower than that.
Absolutely.
And so,
And I believe so.
right. So taxpayers need to know that is the worst case scenario. And
Correct.
because you're that conservative with your numbers. And
Yes.
I just find this, I like this. When I can look at that and say, I like those, I can live with those numbers.
Yep.
It makes it easier for me to say yes on a resolution like this. So thank you,
Appreciate that.
Barry.
Yeah. When I say that, hey, $1,008, you may not, because it depends on the assess value at the time. It could be even lower than that. But again, conservative will help to not a surprise for the voter. And that's what our job to do.
Just a comment, at the study session, we had some questions about whether it should be a 4-year, 6-year, whatever it is. And I got to give kudos to Robin back there. He did a good job explaining it to us as to why he felt it should go, to the 6 years. So got to give him a little kudos for that.
Yes, thank you. Great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any?
Or Kevin?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you, Bang. Really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Bang.
So next study section, you will see the resolution, the first reading, and then the second, the regular board meeting, then we'll ask the board to approve so we can continue on with our process. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The budget status report for July 13th, 2023 is included for board information in your packet. We have another presentation this evening from Executive Director of Communications, Al Warmoth, and Communications Specialist, Allison Hollingsworth. And you will present an update to the board. Welcome.
Okay, I'm going to say it again. Thankfully, we're not doing the numbers. Thanks to Bang. I appreciate you. We are the word gals. So we are writers. So this is what our presentation is going to be about. And it's been exactly a year since we were in front of you last. That was what our first communications department update. And so really there, what we did was introduce ourselves as a team, what we do, how we do it. We talked a little bit about the strategic plan as we were just launching that more publicly, formally. So this time we're going to dive into some details about some projects. Allison and I are going to tag team on that, but dive into some projects and details about that. And then also some communication activities as well, and some other things. You can probably imagine Parent Square is one of our big projects. This has been great to be able to plan and research and then finally launch. What you're looking at now is a screenshot of a mailer that was sent to all of our families, and inside it had step-by-step instructions on how to register for Parent Square. And you're going to hear me talk about register a few times. It is really important that our families register in order to take advantage of all of the two-way communication, the interactive features of Parent Square. But really, this just shows the highlights of some of the key features: text messaging, translation, two-way, real time. There's a mobile app, a Parent Square mobile app, and also some smart alerts, which are really critical to some really time-sensitive alerts and information that we want to give to our parents. And also, I'll say whether it's multilingual families or millennials, this is a tool for everyone. It's really reaching to how they are wanting to communicate, the translation, but also again the text messaging and the app. That is truly where it's at. So I say lift off, we kind of used the theme of the spaceship, made it a little fun. But really, this was such a big project that we took our time to do the research and the planning. We even created an implementation team in the spring, and that included about 13 staff members. There was HR involved, there was the teacher perspective, the attendance secretary perspective, the business office. Everyone was really there to dive in and research various features of Parent Square to bring back to the team. What do they suggest we implement now? What do we save for later? And what might we not need? Again, we use the launch theme. Who doesn't like a countdown? The implementation was just right September 1st. That was the first phase with the robocalls, emails, and text messages. And then shortly afterward, automated attendance that came out on September 12th. And then Student Square, that's going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks. And that's as it sounds. It's students communicating with staff. It's a replacement of Remind, so same parameters apply, but it is something, it's student-centric, whereas Parent Square is parent-centric. Because it was such a big project, because it was a big change, a good change, but a big change, we wanted to have some extensive outreach to our families, and that included all of our communication vehicles, email, all the digital communications, social media. We even were in person at events. So we did Rhubarb Days, Bonnie Lake Days. There was a training webinar, and I kind of like this cardboard cutout. It's a photo of a 4-foot tall cardboard cutout made specifically for our elementary schools for the back to school nights. And we also had flyers that were translated as well. Again, really wanting families to register. So families are getting the communication. Again, they just can't do two-way communication and the interactive features if they don't register. So speaking of registering, we have 53% who have registered. We're going to get that number up, and it's just a matter of keeping at it. This is also what a user can see for their notification settings. This example is actually a staff member here at Central Office who also has a child at Sumner Middle School. And so families are able to choose their notification settings. There's email, text, and the app. They can choose getting instant communications right away, right when the school or district sends it, or they can click digest. And that will save all of the communications until about 6 p.m. in the evening. So they're not inundated with a text, with an email, with a phone call. What is different is the alerts. If it's an attendance notification or an urgent alert, school's closing, snow day, they're going to get that right away. And this is an example, a few examples of what parents see. That first, the larger image there is what's called a post. It's kind of an email, but it was specifically designed from Parent Square to kind of look like Facebook. A lot of, not really, kids aren't on Facebook, but parents are on Facebook. And so this is looking pretty familiar. You can see at the bottom there, they have the opportunity to appreciate a post, kind of like liking. And if there are comments enabled, they can also comment as well, but only the person who posted it. Like I posted that attendance message, only I can see if anyone has a comment about attendance. So people did come back with questions, but only I can see it. And the top right there is an example of an attendance notification that would be via text. And that link there, they could click on the link. If they're registered, click on the link, and that would send a notice to the school saying, oh, Johnny had an orthodontist appointment. I forgot to call in. So that is a great feature. Our text robocalls, the text attendance notifications are also translated into Spanish if the parent has chosen Spanish as their home language in Skyward. And the bottom there is what a notice looks like if you have the app. And another big project, our new website. So Allison's going to speak to that.
Yes, good evening. I'm excited to talk to you about our new website. So this has been something we've been working on for a while. So we entered into agreement with Final Site which is our new website provider, back in December of last year. And since then in the following months, we've been working behind the scenes really to select a template, to do the build out, to do training, which is continuing. And then in July, end of July, early August, we did a survey to our families, our staff and community, sort of asking them about our new website. How do you access our current website? What are you looking for? What sort of suggestions do you have for us to improve it? And so there was a lot of great feedback from there that we're going to be implementing into our new website in our continued planning. And so more continued planning with usability testing, with training, and reviewing and formatting many pages that we have on our website. So that is ongoing. And in creating our new website, we really have some main focus areas that we're looking at. A big one is improved translation function. So our current website uses Google Translate, but with our new website, we'll have a more robust translation feature. It has higher accuracy as far as translation goes. And then we can manually review and override translations if they're not coming across as accurate to the viewer. So that's a feature that I'm excited about. And I'm also excited to also show you analytics. So if people are using the translation feature, you'll get to see how often and what languages most of our users using our website are using. So that'll be really helpful for us to know as we support our community. So also we'll have improved ADA accessibility. So if a user is looking at a page, they'll be able to customize it as far as spacing, contrast, font size, which has been a request that we've heard from many people who are using our website. And they will also have the ability to report something if they think it's not accessible or if they want to improve the website in some way. So it'll be nice to have that feedback. And then navigation, finding things that they're looking for. We want to improve that as well. So that'll be through our surveys, our usability testing, to learn sort of how we can improve there. We'll also be using Google Analytics. So we can actually see where people are going to kind of improve that navigation. And then of course we want to incorporate our strategic plan on our homepage to show people what we're really all about. So those are some of our main focuses there.
So we have a lot of communication vehicles in our communication toolbox. A lot of this is what we do on any given day, not all of it, but we do have a lot at our, we use a lot of it in different ways. So this is just a reminder of all we do. We're going to go into a few details on a few of these things. I do want to point out the photo here is at Bonnie Lake Days. We have a pretty awesome booth. I'm proud of our booth. It kind of did an overhaul. We got a new tent, a banner. We have a prize wheel, and people really have lined up to spin the wheel. They've even been lined up to get onto in the driver's seat of the little bus there. That's Pam Knapp, our transportation director. And we truly do. We recruit for open jobs, hard to fill positions. And so the drivers wanted was, and that bus was just awesome to be at Bonnie Lake Days. So Allison is going to talk about storytelling.
Yes, I really love this slide. I like seeing photos and faces of our district. So throughout the year, we've been working really hard to showcase different stories across our district, how we really showcase our strategic plan and our promise to know, value, and support all kids, all students in our district and our staff. So you'll see on our most recent story we did is about our kinder camp at the Early Learning Center. So that is a really cool 2-day event that parents can sign up for their kids to go to kindergarten, to experience kindergarten before the school year starts. So the kids get to go in there and they get to, see the learning environment for the first time. They get to meet new friends. And it's really a good way to just prepare them to be successful for the start of the school year. Another really fun piece was positive greetings at the door, which is an awesome practice brought to our district by Dr. Jeannie Larberg, where it really just helps students transition to the classroom in the morning. So it was really fun to see how our teachers are really greeting our kids every day when they come in, and how they're incorporating that in different ways. And clearly the students loved it as well. So it was really just great to see those welcoming environments that we're creating. And then last year may have seen a video series that we did on our strategic plan. Goal 3, we highlighted Lily. She's up there. She was in the highly capable program at Mountain View as an 8th grader last year. And she really talked about environmental science and what that meant to her and how much she loved learning that. And so it was really cool to see how, she's really being challenged academically and really to think critically about our world. She had really some cool things to say. And then we highlighted our Third Thursday program as well, which was awesome. That's a program led by our Special Services Department, and Christine Nelson is our transition coordinator here. And that is a series that is held on Thursdays throughout the year that provides resources to families of young adults with developmental disabilities, and it really connects them in a really awesome way to see. So another just kind of way that that department and our district is really providing services to our kids. And then another thing, and if Principal Clark was still here, he'd be excited about it as well, but the commitment to graduate at Bonney Lake High School, this is really cool. It's where seniors get to sign their name on a graduation wall, and it kind of gives them the encouragement, like put them into their own hands to be able to think about their future and to think about graduation. So it was really fun to highlight that as well. Oh, and I think the next slide is me too. Yes, social media is also something that we do. We put a few highlights up here. So in Instagram, we nearly doubled our Instagram followers in June 2022 to June 2023. And so that's a platform that's really growing. A lot of students and families are on there. And then Facebook remains where we see our most followers and our most engagement. And we grew that as well by 20%. So this is an avenue where we share our stories and our news. And so it's really good to have an engaged and active audience on those platforms.
And another thing we do, we kind of liken ourselves to an internal communications agency. So we have internal clients, they're our colleagues, they're our fellow department directors, program managers, project managers, but we meet with all kinds of departments who are really wanting help with communications to promote their event, their workshop. The Family Center, for example, if they have adult sewing classes, English classes, we make flyers, post on Peach Jar. Counseling, we mentioned Dr. Jeannie Larberg. She's done a great job with offering some mental health workshops, some parenting workshops. So with that, it's flyers, it's website, it's newsletters, it is making a registration form and managing that process. What you're seeing here is really highlighting our HR department and what we've done to support them through recruiting. The top image is a video snippet from a series that Allison did on our paras. 2 paras were interviewed, and it was why choose Sumner-Bonney Lake. They had some wonderful, compelling reasons why they're choosing Sumner-Bonney Lake. It was a great series. So paras and also bus drivers. We also help with social media as well in the posting. We do social media ads, but also boosts. So then we can reach a far greater audience. We also did a postcard mailer for the hard to fill positions of bus drivers and paraeducators. So that was designing the postcard, getting it printed and mailed, just facilitating all of that. So there's really a lot of other departments we work with and schools as well for some of their special events. And so it's just really fun to be part of a team to help get the word out and increase that engagement among our families or whatever stakeholder might be there for a certain event. And other is just kind of how our work is guided. Certainly board policy 4000 made for our department. There's other things in the 4000s that relate to us as well. We always keep our commitment to equity in mind as we are putting out content. And then our annual budget is basically made up of big ticket items like our web management system, Parent Square, Archive Social. And we also have the translation and interpretation piece, the language services under our budget as well. Any questions? Deb? It's all words. Thank you. Deb?
Well, of course, it's a great presentation. And I think what I really appreciate about your team here is that you're very relative and very aware of what's going on as far as communication skills to a variety of different age groups. And that includes all of us. And I think probably one of the first things I look for in the morning, I go to Instagram, go to Facebook, and I look at the district and all the pictures that are on there. I just feel for those that are grandparents or have no children or whatever, I think it gives a lot of information out there about who we are and what we're doing for our students. So anyway, I appreciate what you do.
Thank you. Well, thank you for being a follower. We see what you like and you
I know.
comment, and we appreciate that.
I have time.
Thank you. Kevin?
I just wanted to say that Parent Square is a big hit in our household, and I appreciate all the time and effort that you put into that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay, we have a few pieces in our packet for information only. The first piece is on general neutral facilities memo that Superintendent Lori Dent has shared in response to 3211. Policy gender inclusive schools from the February 2023 board meeting. The memo is in response to questions presented by Director Williams at that board meeting. It's included in your packet. The other piece of information only is Rick's favorite, change order report number 1 in the total of $66,917. Not many.
That, like she says, it's always my favorite. When we, in the past, when we had a lot of projects going on, the amount of change orders was astronomical. And I have to say, you know, the people that are running that show now have done a way better job of getting stuff on target, getting things done the way it's supposed to be done. Marina, Dave, Matt, one of our best, I'll say it, one of our best things we ever did was getting Matt and Hayline, is that it, Hayline, on board with the district to do all the, you know, the projects that are going on out there. At the times there was like, you know, 5-6 projects going on at the same time. I don't know how it was ever managed in the past, but it's sure, I'm going to say it, a heck of a lot better than it ever was. And that's because there's a great team doing it. Hey, Mary, you recommended them to us, so you did a good job. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anything for board discussion this evening? Let's start at this end. Deb, okay. Rick? Yeah, you sure did. Paul?
I just want to bring everybody's attention to that gender neutral facilities memo. I think this was really put together well. It's easy to read. It shows parents in the community what is being done to provide privacy accommodations for students with the end goal in mind in the future, hopefully someday that nobody will ever have to ask. The facilities will just be there for students to use at their will. That's the end goal I think we want. And you did a nice job on that memo. Thank you very much, Lori.
Well said, Paul. Thank you. Kevin?
I'm all good. Thank you.
All right. Our next board meeting has been scheduled for Wednesday, October 18th. It'll begin right here at 6 p.m. in the central office boardroom. At this time, we're going to move into executive session in accordance with Open Public Meetings Act provision for executive sessions. The Sumner-Bonney Lake School District Board of Directors will hold an executive session for the purposes of discussing potential litigation. Action is not anticipated following the executive session, and it is expected to last 45 minutes. Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming this evening.